Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? How's life in your world, and how's things where you are? I hope everything is good. The chair is done. I finished the chair. If you've been following me on Instagram, I've been posting pictures of the process of making this nesting. It's called a camp chair or a nesting chair or a Civil War chair. There's a whole bunch of different names for it. But essentially, it is a chair that is in two pieces. And those two pieces come apart, and then one slides into the back of the other, and you can pick up the whole thing and carry it. And I've been wanting something like this for a while because, one, I'm tired of the like $15 Walmart chairs that break constantly when I go to soccer games. And I thought, I'm a woodworker. I should have a nice chair. And number two, I would really like to, in the future, the not too distant future at that, build a little fire ring area in my backyard. I think I'd like to have a chimenea, not a fire pit, but like a little terracotta chimney. And I'd like furniture for out there that I could also bring inside. And Adirondack chairs are not a good fit for that. I don't have any place to store them. They're big and bulky. Whereas this is something that is compact and easy to store. And I've been kind of looking for something, and then just kind of serendipity. YouTuber Jay Bates put out a video where he designed one of these chairs, and he said, I'm going to sell templates. And so he did, and I bought them. And when I mean sell templates, I mean he sold templates for this chair. And you take this template and you rough cut your wood to dimension, and then you use a pattern trimming router bit, and you cut out the shapes, and then you just cut the slats and screw it all together, and you're done. And that's what I did. And it turned out perfect. Like, it's got problems. I screwed up a couple of things. I learned some lessons. But for the most part, I would have to show you what's flawed for you to see it. And I think, truthfully, as a person who makes things, as an artist, as a graphic designer, as a programmer, I think that's true for most things that we create. If I was to just put this in a space, people would say this is a perfect chair and sit in it. And they wouldn't sit there and say, oh, well, this is bad and this is bad. You would have to actually take the chair apart to see what I screwed up. So I was able to hide my crime. And thankfully, I didn't try to do any grain matching or anything like that. So nothing got screwed up in the way that I screwed up. But it turned out great. It's white oak. I chose white oak because it's a good, solid, closed-grained wood for outdoors. It doesn't have a whole lot of long grain straws, so it doesn't suck up a whole lot of moisture. Once white oak gets dry, it stays pretty dry. It's actually difficult to re-water it, to rehydrate it. So it's a good outdoor wood for those reasons. It doesn't hold moisture, which helps prevent rot. And for the finish, I chose teak oil. I've never used teak oil before, but I've heard it's a good outdoor finish. And this product is actually, I don't think it contains any teak oil at all. I think it's probably linseed oil and some other, pretty volatile chemicals. I've never used it, and I was a little buzzed today. I was just kind of like, I'm going to do this. And put on a heavy flood coat of teak oil, came back 30 minutes later, put on another coat, waited 15 minutes, wiped it off, and then I've had fans blowing on it all day. So I've learned a whole lot of lessons. I learned the routing lessons. I've learned to definitely use teak oil in a well-ventilated area with a respirator. I should have put the respirator on. I didn't, and I've lost some brain cells. And I have known, but I've never experienced, because I don't work with oils a lot, that polymerizing oils, or air drying oils, they polymerize through oxidation. It's not evaporation, it's not UV curing, it's not heat, it's oxygen. So they oxidize, which makes these long polymer chains, which hardens the oil. And so the best way to harden oil finishes is airflow. Just keep a fan blowing across it. And so that's what I did today. After I put the finish on, I had the slats here. I had the slat and the chair backs over there with two fans blowing. And I got it dry enough that I could assemble it. It's going to take probably a full day to fully cure and set. I'm going to move it into the other side where I have my wood storage on the other side of this wall, and put a couple fans on it tonight and just let the fans blow across the chair all night. But overall, I'm excited. I'm excited to use it. I like it a lot. It's heavy. White oak is heavy. I'm curious. I might try to make one out of cedar. I know my wood guy has cedar, but the problem with cedar is it's real fibrous, but it's also super rot resistant. But I'm afraid it's not quite strong enough. The way this chair kind of wedges itself together, there's a couple of stress points that I don't think the cedar could handle. I don't know yet. We'll see. I did not use glue on this, by the way. I oiled before assembly, so I wanted to make sure I got oil everywhere. So I oiled before assembly to help get it in there and make sure it soaked in and penetrated everything. So hopefully it lasts. Oh, I forgot the most important part. Check this out. I decided that I wanted to try to figure out a way to protect the parts that go in the dirt. So I taped them off and painted on epoxy. Just regular 5-minute, what's the name brand? You can buy this like DevCon 5-minute epoxy. I mixed up in small batches, stirred it up real good, used a foam brush and painted it on and let it dry and took the tape off. So the ends, I got little booties that are plastic essentially, which should help with moisture absorption. And the epoxy, surprisingly enough, turned the oak pretty similar to the wood. It's a little lighter, but it doesn't look weird. I was thinking I might paint them. I might paint the ends with like an oil-based paint or something, but I decided to try the epoxy since this chair's for me. It's not for sale. So, Jay, when he sold the templates, said we could sell them. He gives you free reign to sell this design, but now that I have put one together, I will say I've used probably a half a can of teak oil, which is expensive. Like, let's say that's $8 worth of teak oil, $30 worth of oak, $10 worth of stainless screws, and probably 6 hours of my time. Means I'd have to sell this thing for like $120 just to break even, essentially. I mean, that's paying myself nothing, you know. I legit had at least 4 hours in it, probably 6 if I'm being honest with myself, and you know, I could pay myself $20 an hour and be charging $120 in labor, but you know, paying myself $10 an hour plus some wood and some materials, I sell it for $120. I don't think anybody would pay that, but if you're interested, I could make one for you and flat ship it to you, and all you'd have to do is screw it together. And I can make it unfinished. If I made it unfinished, if I just cut the wood straight off the planer, I didn't sand it, I left everything up to you, I could sell it for probably $60 and make, you know, a little bit of money for myself. We'll see. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, being wonderful people. I appreciate you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from Wikipedia. Do frogs have ears? Frogs can hear both in the air and below water. They do not have external ears. The eardrums, the tympanic membranes, are directly exposed or may be covered by a layer of skin or invisible as clear circular area just behind the eye.